I bought a 2008 Jeep Wrangler with 153,000 miles from a guy on Craigslist that was 50 Shades of Shady. Hello everybody, it's Mike, the Baldadonis. Boom! Welcome everybody. If you're tuning in for the very first time, my name is Mike the Baldadonis and I talk about many different topics. Mostly myself. Sharing life experiences one video at a time is my motto. I talk about being in prison for 5 years, 3 months in my early 20s, only to get out because I was unhappy with my body. I dabbled in steroids, gained 105 pounds, and I had a heart attack and other health issues. I talk about cars. I talk about conspiracy theories with Gary from the gym. I have Dr. Peter Picoco. He's my mentor. He talks about inspiration. I talk about living with migraines and vertigo from today's environmental pollution and today's foods. I have other people that come on board and share their life stories as well. Okay, so deal with me for a few minutes, okay? I have an interesting story on how I bought the 2008 Jeep Wrangler. Back on Memorial Day, I was on Craigslist looking for vehicles, and I wanted a Jeep. I owned Jeeps in the past. The last time I owned a Jeep was over 10 years ago. I had the YJ, the one with the square headlights. I really liked those vehicles, but they weren't really practical. They're a little bit smaller. They were fun. They were a toy. Okay, living in the Boston area, finding a clean Jeep with no rust on the frame is close to impossible. So there's a lot of patch jobs. There's frame replacements, and so on and so on. So finding a nice one, you're going to pay all the money. Now I decided to spend a little bit more money for a newer model. The 2008 is the newer model from what I was looking at, and I never owned one, so that appealed to me, and I was able to get one for a price I can afford. Now, being on Craigslist, I seen one in Westport, Massachusetts. It's 2-hour drive, okay? So texting back and forth, trying to make a deal somewhat where I'm gonna buy the vehicle at a certain price that we're both okay with before I even get there. All right, I tell him I buy and sell cars as a hobby. He says, that's fine, whatever. So I go down there. Now I take a friend with me because if I buy it, somebody has to follow me. So it takes me 2 hours to get there. Now there's a bunch of red flags about this vehicle. One, let's talk about the ad. The ad says it is in Westport, Massachusetts. The ad says that it has 151,000 miles on it. The ad says that it has brand new tires, brand new tune-up, and brand new brakes. Runs awesome. The fenders, the bumpers, and the wheels are all painted to match the body. So it's all one body color. Not bad, it looks pretty good, it's green. I was okay with that. So the red flags start popping up as soon as I get to his house. And there's many. So you ready for him? I pull up, the first thing I notice, there's no license plates. So I asked him, why is there no license plates? He said, well, I took the license plate off and I put it on my wife's new vehicle. So I looked over, I said, that's great, Rhode Island plates. Why does it have Massachusetts inspection sticker if you just took the plates off? He didn't know how to answer that one. I'm like, okay. Now I know he's just buying to sell, because I've been in the car business for 22 years. I know when somebody's flipping a car. I get it, I'm okay with that, but just be honest. That's all I ask for, because I'm transparent when I'm selling a vehicle. I buy a car, I fix it up, I put it on YouTube, and I move it along. Your mind is much clearer, and you feel better about yourself when you're just honest about the vehicle, right? That's how I look at it. Anyways, his name is Dave. I'm like, Dave, all right, why does this vehicle not have brand new tires like the ad says? He looks at me and he's like, what? I said, yeah, these tires aren't brand new. Not at all. So he walks around the vehicle with his little tire depth thing, and he's checking them all out. No, these are good. This one's a little worn out. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. The ad says they're brand new. These aren't brand new. So he took money off the vehicle for that. I was okay with that. Now, the other red flag was I see a line of green paint and some overspray on the bottom of the windshield. Something else was painted. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now I said, Dave, you have 4 cars in your driveway. Sorry, 4 cars in your garage, and your wife's vehicle, your truck, and everything is Rhode Island inspected and Rhode Island plates. Why does this have a Massachusetts inspection sticker? Well, it was for my son. He's going to college in the first year. Freshmen cannot have a vehicle. I'm like, that's fine. But I'm catching him in all his lies. You see what's going on here? So I'm like, Dave, how can I drive this vehicle? How can I take it for a test drive? He goes, hold on, Mike. Goes behind his other vehicle and he takes off a dealer's plate. A dealer's plate. So I'm like, Dave, you're a car dealer. No, I'm an engineer. I troubleshoot cars that other people can't fix. So why do you have a dealer's plate? I don't understand. Anyways, I take the vehicle for a ride. Now in the back of my head, I'm already pissed off. It needs an exhaust system. I can hear the exhaust leak. The tires need to be replaced, even though we took the money off, but still, I'm just annoyed. 2-hour ride, you get it. Deceiving ads. Have you ever looked at a vehicle or apartment or a house and the ad was nothing what it actually looks like, right? So this is in the back of my head. I'm a little pissed off, but the truck actually drives really nice. Owning the old vehicles, this one is much bigger, a little bit longer, a little bit taller, and much more roomier. The seats are way more comfortable. AC that actually works. Old Jeeps, good luck. The automatic, I prefer a stick, but an automatic is just much more easier to sell, because now you have anybody that wants a Jeep, right? So that was really appealing. And being in the newer style versus the old style of Jeeps, they go pretty good. You know, it handles well. It has a great turn radius. It's good on gas, or is it? I don't know. I only been driving it for a month, but $30 fills up the tank. So I get back to Dave. Dave gives me the other rims as well. So I'm like, all right, Dave's okay, but he just can't let this go, the lie. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, man, you're just flipping this vehicle. No. Now, the other thing was, here is a Carfax. On this Carfax, I asked Dave in the text, Dave, how long have you owned this vehicle? Since 2011. That's funny, because the person that owned this vehicle owned it since 2013, okay? And the people before that was the original owner. So, no, Dave, you did not own this vehicle since 2011. Speaking of Carfax, Dave is able to run a Carfax right from his cell phone. I said, Dave, can you send me a Carfax? Yeah, Mike. Goes on his cell phone, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, no, I got a Carfax, this one, as a matter of fact, and it tells you the date and the time the Carfax was made. So I know it came from his cell phone, all right? So that's a dealership. Carfax is very expensive to run. So popping off Carfaxes, you know, a dealership will do that. So I'm like, now I'm playing the game with him. I know he's a dealer. I know he's just flipping it, but I'm just busting his balls more and more and more. You know what I'm saying? I end up buying the Jeep. Dave, thanks. Hey, Dave, do you have an extra key? Mike, I do, but my son has it. I'm like, okay, can you mail it to me? No problem. When I was talking to him, he goes, my cell phone said I got to charge it. Mike, I'll talk to you later. I said, I'll text you when I go home, make sure everything's okay. Cool, Mike, see you later. Now, I'm driving 2 hours away back home. I go get gas. I have my friend following me. I don't know the area that well. It's dark out, it's raining, it's foggy. And as I put the defroster on, all I can smell is brake smoke. The calipers, all the brake pads are sticking, and it's causing a lot of friction, and the smell is coming through the truck. So much that I had to pull over. Now, when I was pulling over, I noticed that the wheel was getting very tight. It could be because the caliper was seizing up and pulling the brake. So when I pulled over, Route 24 in the Fall River area is pitch black. There's no lights on the highway. Tractor trailers going by, vroom, vroom, vroom. I'm like shaking, well, the vehicle's shaking because that's how much wind it's created. I'm shitting bricks because I'm like this far from traffic. I was able to make it to an area that had more room. I was like, all right, cool. The brakes were smoking up. I opened up the hood because I think that the power steering or something let go as well. It's the same smell when the rubber is being burnt from the belt. So I have my cell phone flashlight trying to look in the middle of the darkness through the fog and everything, and I can't tell if the bearing seized. And that was on the air conditioning side. The air conditioning bearing looked like it wasn't moving, so the belt was just vroom, 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 vroom. I couldn't tell, all right? So as I'm sitting there, I'm texting Dave, I'm calling Dave. This is 8 o'clock at night. I know he's charging his phone, but I left like 20 minutes before. Hopefully he was going to answer the phone. Maybe he can tell me something, but nothing. Doesn't call me back, no text back. I'm calling every tow truck company in that area to drive me 90 miles home. Memorial Day night, the holiday. Yes, we'll tow you, $700. Now, buying and selling cars, you would think I have, AAA or a tow truck myself, but I don't. So I'm like, what the F is going on? $700 is the price. So I call up my friends at RGA up in Pelham, New Hampshire. And I was like, hey, it's Mike. They're like, who? I'm like, it's Mike. And they're like, where are you? And I tell them where I am. And they're like, let me call you back. So I get the call back about 15, 20 minutes later. We'll come and get you. I had to wait 2 more hours for him to come down. Now, I got state troopers pulling people over left and right. It is the holiday, so they're busting balls. They're pulling people over. They pulled the guy over, or whoever it was, right in front of my Jeep. I told my friend, I'm like, that cop's gonna back up and make sure that we're okay. Sure enough, backs up. Everything all right? Yeah, I'm waiting for a tow truck. Thank you. Boop, takes off. 2 more troopers come by like 15 minutes later. Same thing. See you later. They take off. When the tow truck gets there, he can still smell the burning of the brakes. We tow it all the way home. 1 o'clock in the morning, I get in. 5 hours sitting on Route 24. So the next day, I wake up. That guy, Dave, actually texted me at 10 o'clock. But because the way the weather was, the text didn't come through. He was like, Mike, I'm sorry. It must be just the brakes, blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool. I text him back saying, it's okay. I made it home. It's 1 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. His cell phone says, you've been blocked. I'm like, you kidding me? this phone is being blocked. I called him from my neighbor's phone, and that was blocked too. All incoming calls were blocked. So I have a real bad taste in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I go to RGA and I said, hey guys, I think it needs AC compressor because the bearing might be seized. Check it out. And I told them about the brakes. Just check it out. All right, Mike, no problem. I leave. I come back home. I go online. I'm checking out Dave. I'm like, let me see if I can get his home phone number. I can't get any information from him. I look on the title. It's not even his name. It's not even his name. It's a whole different name. So I Google the person's name on the title, telling me what town they're from. I'm like the ages and stuff like that. So now I'm getting a little pissed, right? Now, I like I said, I know this is a dealership. A guy that worked from a dealership. He grabbed the car from one of his buddies and he's just flipping it. It is what it is. So after inquiring about the people on the title through online, I then went and called them again. This time it actually went through. He picked up the phone. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. I'll even buy it back. I was like, oh, cool. You buy it back? I almost let him buy it back. I should have. But when I asked him about the people's names, he goes, oh, that's my father. It was registered on my father's name. Now, wouldn't you just tell me that when I first started asking you questions? That would have made a lot more sense. But no, it was just another lie. Because the person that he said his dad was 20-something years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, how many lies are you going to tell? Okay. So I go back to RGA. I said, RGA, he might buy it back. Okay, Mike, I leave. For shits and giggles, because now he's telling me that he's gonna pick up the vehicle, right? So I'm scratching my beard, not my head, but my beard. I'm like, I go back to the RGA. I said, hey guys, let's jumpstart the vehicle. Let's see if it's actually the pulley. Make sure it's actually working. Sure enough, jump started, thing's perfect. I'm like, all right, so I just killed the battery while I was checking it out the night before. So the car runs good. We take the car for a ride. The brakes were sticking, so I called up Dave again. I'm like, Dave, good news. It's running. It's not the part that we think it is. Let's do the brakes. So let me call you back. I think I still want to keep it. All right, Mike. So we discussed the brakes, how if they were frozen up, then he would replace it. And then I had the guys check out the vehicle. Upon inspection, now he's an engineer. This is supposed to be for his son. You would think he would do the work that this vehicle needs, and that's not much. It needs exhaust. It needs a transmission pan gasket. It needs transmission lines that are leaking. They don't need to be changed, but they are leaking just a little bit. And tires. So I had to buy tires, like I said. Tires at simpletire.com, and they were $335 at RGA. Put the tires on, like I said, and they went through the vehicle. So the brakes, pad slap, not a big deal. Loose exhaust system, put the exhaust system on for me, and the Jeep is a good Jeep. I just had that bad taste in my mouth. I had this guy full of shit. You know what I mean? So the tow job was half the price of everybody else. I want to thank RJ for helping me out. And I talked to Dave. I said, Dave, how about, because I was kind of still pissed. I still have to put the work into it and this and that. He goes, so we had a little argument for a few seconds. And he was like, he calmed down. I said, I'll tell you what, Dave. I'll drive the vehicle, make sure the brakes are good, if you pay for the tow. And he did. He sent me money in the key in the mail. And on the envelope, it just says Dave, without a last name and his address. So, really? There you go. He was just full of shit. So I want to thank RGA the most. They helped me out. They helped me out a lot of times with my other vehicles, and they saved me that night. Half the price of everybody else. And RGA, thank you very much. So some of the things that I enjoy about the Jeep and some of the things that I do not enjoy about the Jeep. Number one, you take the top off. Number one. Number two, the doors come off if you choose to take the doors off. They are much heavier. They are fully loaded compared to the old style YJ. I'm only comparing this Jeep versus the YJ because I only own the YJ. Air conditioning works, the stereo system's way better. Seats are way more comfortable and they recline. The back seat actually folds up and pushes up so you can actually put stuff in the back. Much more room, like I said, it's bigger, wider, longer. It handles really well. It gets okay gas mileage for a Jeep. You know, it is four-wheel drive, but to fill it up on regular gas, it's only like 30 bucks, something like that. What else? I mean, everybody loves a Jeep. You can personalize a Jeep to your taste. Huge tires, different fenders, different tops, different interiors, you name it, you can do whatever you want with the Jeep. That's what's so cool about having a Jeep. Now, having a Jeep, you're gonna do the old wave. Everybody waves to you. I learned that a long time ago. Many, many years ago, owning my Jeep, I'm like, why is people waving to me? So that's the Jeep thing. Another thing that people do with waving is motorcycles and Corvettes. Or muscle cars, hot rods. So waving to another Jeep gets tiring because there's a fucking ton of Jeeps everywhere you go. Jeep, 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 Jeep. So watching this video, notice how many Jeeps you see the next time you go out. They're everywhere. They are everywhere, but they are fun. So here's an option for people that own motorcycles or looking for convertibles. If you want a convertible sports car, that's cool. I'm 6'4", I'm tired of getting down and sliding down into a car and barely getting out. As I'm 50 years old, same thing. I'm just tired of getting in and out of small cars. I have a Fiat Abarth and I'm crawling in and out of that. But if you own a motorcycle and you're getting older or you want something more safer because your girlfriend, your wife, a family member, someone that loves you or cares about you wants you off a motorcycle. Motorcycles are dangerous. I did break my leg and broke it in half while I was out on bail waiting to go to prison. So I almost lost my leg. The importance of a motorcycle was not the importance of it, but knowing how at 21 years old, you're able to pin it down and almost kill yourself. In today's world, with today's cell phones and people texting and people all over the place, yeah, bikes are cool until you get hurt. I prefer someone to get into a convertible or maybe a Jeep. So that's a great option. If you're looking to buy a motorcycle or buy something, 4Runner or something, I don't know, whatever, look into a Jeep. They're versatile, they're fun, Buy a Jeep, all right? Just go buy a Jeep because they're fun. The other thing, blind spots. This thing has a lot of blind spots. The doors are in the way, the roll bar's in the way, the back seat's in the way. So if you're gonna buy one of these that doesn't have a backup camera, go buy a backup camera. You're gonna just buy a backup camera if you buy a Jeep, because the blind spots are pretty bad. That's definitely a con. So go buy a Jeep, go enjoy yourself, and have a good time. Until the next time, everybody, Baldadonis out.